Record.
So good afternoon, everybody. Today's topic is truncus arteriosus.
Record कर
So,
देना।
Answer. Start.
truncus arteriosus, approximately 1 to 2% of cases of congenital heart disease, and approximately 0.7 to 1.2% of all congenital malformations. It is characterized by a single great artery with a single semilunar gives rise to coronary and systemic circulation. The single arterial trunk receives the output from both the ventricles, so the ventricular septal defect is obligatory. The truncus is large because it accepts the entire output of both systemic and pulmonary circulations, although inherent medial abnormalities contribute to the dilatation. So, the classification of truncus arteriosus was given by Eward and Collet. Von Prague classification, and that Von Prague's classification was by Eward and Collet and by Eward. So now we have the Eward and the Collet classification, which states that it has four types. That is, the type 1 is the main pulmonary artery arises from the truncus arteriosus and gives rise to right pulmonary artery, and the type 2 is RPA and LPA arise directly and lying close to one another. Type 3 is right and the left pulmonary artery arises from separate ostium lying at the some distance from one another. And type 4 is absence of branch pulmonary artery, pulmonary blood flow derived from the aortopulmonary collaterals. So the most common variety is type 1, which is characterized by a short main that originates from the truncus, gives rise to right and the left. Whereas the type 2 and 3 of Collet and Evans were originally defined by the left and the right and the left pulmonary arteries that arose from separate ostia, either the side or the back of the truncus. And these two types are now grouped with a single category referred to as type 2. In 15% of cases, the right and the left pulmonary artery is absent or hypoplastic, and an absent or a hypoplastic pulmonary artery is usually concordant with the side of the aortic arch, which is right-sided in many as 30% of patients with truncus arteriosus. Rarely, there is a double aortic arch or an interrupted aortic arch. So this is type 1, in which this is the main big segment of the truncus. From here, the pulmonary artery rises and it further divides into an LPA and RPA. The type 2 is that it arises, the left and the right pulmonary artery has different origin, separate origin, and they have a separate ostia, either from behind the truncus. This is behind. The dotted line basically shows it is behind. And type 3 is that they have separate origins arising from the truncus, the right and the left. So the association of valves with truncus, the truncal valve has 3 leaflets, that is and it has either 2 leaflets, which is bicuspid, or 4 leaflets, which is quadricuspid. A normal leaflet aortic valve differs from leaflet of the truncal valve because of the presence of truncal graphase. The truncal valves tend to be more thickened and so the difference between the trileaflet valves are both valves can either be trileaflet, it can be bicuspid, or it can be quadricuspid. But the difference between the normal trileaflet aortic valve and the valve associated with the truncus arteriosus is that the valve with truncus arteriosus are morely thickened and they are diffusely dysplastic, either focally or diffusely dysplastic. The truncal valves are frequently incompetent. Their stenotic truncal valves are less common, and they may be dysplastic or may calcify in the older adults. Truncus arteriosus, the cardiovascular abnormalities associated with truncus arteriosus basically includes the right aortic arch, of origin and distribution of the coronary arteries, single ventricles, aberrant subclavian artery, left superior vena cava, total anomalous of pulmonary venous connection. Association with the coronary arteries. The coronary arteries in truncus arteriosus are defined by the relationship to the truncal sinuses and by the epicardial courses. The coronary arterial ostia appear after division of the embryonic truncus during the normal morphogenesis. Now there are initially 6 coronary artery analion, which is primordia. Three from the aorta and three from the pulmonary artery. In truncus arteriosus, the sinus substrates to which the coronary arteries are assigned are influenced by the failure or subluxation of the embryonic truncus and by development of the abnormalities of the truncal valve. The left coronary artery tends to arise from the left posterior aspect of the truncus, and the right coronary artery tends to arise from the right anterior aspect of the truncus. The right coronary artery is 85% dominant, and the conus branch of the right coronary artery is large, and the left anterior descending artery is small. The physiological consequences or the dynamics behind truncus arteriosus basically depends upon the size of the artery and on the pulmonary vascular resistance. Right ventricular pressure is identical with the systemic because the right ventricles communicate directly with the biventricular truncus via a non-restrictive VSD. As I mentioned before, that the VSD is obligatory. Now, when a main pulmonary artery arises directly from the truncus, blood flow from the left and right ventricles tends to cross. So, oxygen content is higher in the aorta than in the pulmonary artery. Systemic arterial oxygen is high when the pulmonary resistance is low and pulmonary blood flow is increased. An advantage is purchased at the price of volume overload of the left ventricle and congestive heart failure. Truncal valve regurgitation is another important manifestation or is another important hemodynamic modality, which is or truncal valve stenosis. It is basic. It leads to burden on the. It leads.
Are you going to discuss the embryology after this?
Sir, embryology तो
ये conotruncal anomaly is embryology.
Embryology of truncal anomaly.
नहीं सर, वो तो मैंने मेंशन नहीं करी.
You complete physiology, then we'll discuss.
Okay, sir. So because of the truncal valve regurgitation, there is a volume overload of the left ventricle and to the hemodynamic rearrangements that are imposed on the right ventricle because of biventricular truncus. As pulmonary artery resistance rises, the pulmonary blood flow falls. Volume overload of the left ventricle is curtailed at the price of increased cyanosis. Occasionally, the pulmonary blood flow is adequately regulated by mild and moderate hypoplasia of both the pulmonary arteries. Ventricular septal defects from the absence or deficiency of the infundibulum is almost always non-restrictive and roofed by the truncal valve, setting the stage of inadequate support in truncal valve. So, we can discuss embryology. So this is basically a conotruncal anomaly, and
हेलो डॉक्टर रोहित.
जी सर.
हाँ, लॉस्ट हो गए बीच में. माइक्रोफोन इशू. हेलो.
हाँ जी सर, आपकी आवाज आ रही है सर.
Don't hear you अभी. कब आ रही है आवाज? हाँ ना, फिर
हाँ.
हाँ जी सर. So should I continue with the clinical features? Okay.
Clinical features है इसके बाद. What about
So his
embryology?
hello.
Okay, you continue with the history. We'll discuss in the end. एक embryology बच गई है बीच में. We'll discuss in the end.
Okay. So in history or the presentation, there is an equal frequency in males and females, and it is mainly reported with 22q11 deletion. Now it comes to attention, the clinical features of truncus arteriosus comes within first few weeks of life because of tachypnea, diaphoresis, poor feeding and failure to thrive. The truncal valve regurgitation is responsible for the biventricular failure because the regurgitant flow is received by both the ventricles. Infants with truncus arteriosus seldom reach the first birthday, and most of the patients die because of congestive heart failure, and the mean age of death is around 5 weeks. A rise in the pulmonary vascular resistance occasionally regulates the pulmonary blood flow and reveals the volume overload left ventricle. So the symptoms of the congestive heart failure improve with cyanosis. Really, the death Really, death is from mural dissection and rupture of the common trunk. Morbidity and mortality are also influenced by the host of non-cardiac abnormalities that coexist with truncus arteriosus. So, how does the patient basically appear, or how does the patient look like? The infants who have increased blood flow and who have congestive heart failure have poor development. Cyanosis is inconspicuous or is when the truncus arteriosus occurs with hypertension of the pulmonary artery, the ipsilateral hemithorax tends to be small. Appearance in truncal arteriosus is DiGeorge syndrome, which includes hypertelorism, low-set tears, microganthia, and a small fish-like mouth, a short plethysm, short down slanting peripheral fissure, palpable fissures, deformed or absent pinnae, cleft lip, high arched or cleft palate, a malformed nose, and a bilateral cataracts. It is also associated with charge association, which includes coloboma, heart disease, conal atresia, retardation of the growth and mental development, genital hypoplasia, and ear abnormalities, especially in truncus arteriosus, and has been associated with 42% of the patient with charge association. So on examination, the arterial pulse is white pressure because of the low PVR permits diastolic runoff from the truncus into the pulmonary bed. At times it is brisk because of the rapid ejection of the large left ventricular stroke volume. Jugular venous pressure on examining the jugular venous patients with congestive heart failure have jugular veins are distended and liver is enlarged. In cases of adults in which the truncus arteriosus or with Eisenmenger, the jugular venous pressure may be normal or may be normal. Palpation and precaudal movement, the impulse of
Most
the
of the
volume
time when you are going to get a this case is probably when you are going to get a Eisenmengerized vision. So there should be some
Okay,
clues
sir.
when you're getting a loud and banging uh, uh, the loud and banging heart sound is there. Actually pulmonary component is difficult to say, but if you are having systemic features of syndromic anomalies, because DiGeorge has a very high association with truncus arteriosus. I think you will complete the thing and then we'll discuss as per the case. Most of the time they will present very early in life with failure,
Very early in life. Yes, sir.
and many of them, few of them I would actually present with Eisenmenger.
Yes. Hello.
Okay, let's continue.
Yes, sir. So on precaudal movement and palpation, the impulse of the volume overload hypodynamic left ventricle is accompanied by parasternal and subxiphoid impulse of a systemic right ventricle. Both the impulses are augmented by regurgitation flow across the incompetent biventricular truncal valve. The main pulmonary artery of type 1 truncus can be palpated in the left intercostal space. The second heart sound is palpable because the truncal valve closes the systemic pressure and because the truncal dilatation brings the valve closer to the chest wall. Thrill appears at the left mid-sternal edge as the left ventricle ejects large stroke volume through the ventricular septal defect. A right sternoclavicular impulse indicates a right aortic. In patients with truncus arteriosus and pulmonary vascular disease, left ventricle is not volume overloaded. Precaudal impulse, precaudal impulse is from the right ventricle alone. Biventricular regurgitation across the truncal valve makes both the ventricles palpable irrespective of the pulmonary vascular resistance. Uh, there is a S1 is normal. It is followed by a high-pitched ejection sound generated within the dilated truncus. This systolic murmur through the ventricular septal defect and into the truncus is decrescendo, beginning at the ejection sound and ending before the second heart. Murmur is harsh, blowing, and usually grade 3 by 6 or 4 by 6, with maximum intensity at the third, fourth left ventricle. Radiation is upward to the right because of the truncus makes the course of the ascending aorta. When the truncal valve is thickened, when it is dysplastic or it is stenotic, the murmur is mid-systolic as in aortic stenosis. There are certain murmurs which are also confined to systole, or there are continuous murmurs that are louder in systole are generated by the origin of hypoplastic pulmonary arteries. Continuous murmur are seldom generated by the systemic arterial collaterals that supply the ipsilateral lung when the pulmonary arteries. Truncal valve closure is prominent sound because the enlarged truncle is closer to the chest wall because the truncal valve closes at a systemic pressure. Splitting is not possible because the truncle is equipped only with one valve, and a high frequency blowing early diastolic murmur is caused by truncal valve regurgitation. An apical mid diastolic murmur is introduced by S3 results from increased flow across the mitral valve because in response to increased pulmonary blood flow, and a mid systolic or a pre-systolic Austen-Flint murmur are thought to be associated with severe truncal valve regurgitation. So these are the clinical or the examining.
So how will you summarize? Suppose you are examining a Eisenmenger case. There is a 8-year-old girl, 6-year-old girl whom you have examined. It's a severe PH. The patient is blue. There is clubbing. So what features will tell you that this could be one of your differential diagnosis of Eisenmenger could be truncus? What findings will tell you?
सर एक तो आइसेनमेंगर में सर हमको जो फर्स्ट हार्ट साउंड है सर एज पर द फर्स्ट सर एक तो उसमें हमको साइनोसिस मिलेगा जबकि ट्रंकस में साइनोसिस वुड बी एब्सेंट और मे बी प्रेजेंट मे और मे नॉट बी प्रेजेंट फर्स्टली सेकेंडली सर
साइनोसिस तो मिलेगा, बिना साइनोसिस के तो आइजनमेंगर बोल ही नहीं सकते ना, साइनोसिस या फिर SpO2 कम।
और वैसे भी इसमें मिक्सिंग चैम्बर नहीं है ना, मिक्सिंग चैम्बर इज नॉट वेरी गुड, इट्स अ VSD. So many most of the truncus would present with Eisenmengerization would actually be cyanosed. The saturation is actually around 75 or something, 70 or 80. So they are most of them are actually with if they are Eisenmengerized they will be cyanosed. So you have to start from what you have started actually. यहाँ से तुमने start किया. क्या क्या clues हैं जो बताएंगे this could be a truncus. Your first differential diagnosis would never be truncus. Remember, जब भी करोगे तो you will keep some differential diagnosis, but there will be certain clues which will tell you in second and third diagnosis कि हाँ ये truncus arteriosus हो सकता है.
जी.
Eisenmenger में क्या क्या? सबसे पहले तो systemic features ना. There will be a history of increased flow, सभी में होगा. Eisenmengerization is very early if it is non-restrictive flow.
Yes sir.
If there is no peripheral stenosis, well, this can be there in shunt lesions also. Physical appearance में the features of DJOTs, one should very know hypertelorism, low set ears, microgenetia, short philtrum,
cleft palate,
पिन्ना जो बाहर के जो पिन्ने ears हैं वो cleft वो deformed है, वो high arched palate है या cleft palate है, and these things tell you that probably there's a high association with this has got the highest association with syndromic anomalies. History of seizures, early onset of seizures is very important because they are very prone to hypocalcemia. When you examine the patient, examination point पे parasternal heave इनमें मिलती है बहुत commonly because generally because RV जो होता है वो काफी hypertensive होता है और ऊपर से it has got volume also, regurgitant volume भी आ रहा होता है. Early diastolic murmur is generally seen in a truncus और किसी में early diastolic murmur कहाँ इतनी commonly मिलती है, वो उसकी मिलती है PR की. इसमें तो it will be a very good early diastolic murmur invariably. There is always a AR which is associated. In spite of Eisenmengerization, there can be presence of continuous murmur in this is the only condition. Because what happens whenever many of them are associated with lungs which are pulmonary arteries which are stenosed or absent. तो अगर stenosed होगी तो contralateral lung hypertensive हो जाएगा. In fact, contralateral lung hypertensive होता है, ipsilateral lung भी hypertensive हो जाता है. लेकिन there is still some differential flow which is maintained as compared to the other lung. So this is the only condition where you might still have a continuous murmur in the chest. That goes in favor of truncus. Well, truncal valve regurgitation, second heart sound इनमें if you say ना कि second heart sound से कर लेंगे ये इसमें single heart sound होगी, ऐसा नहीं होता है. If you auscultate truncus, there is a S1 and the closure is such that it will give you 2 or 3 heart sounds. It's click or second heart sound. ये ऐसे it is very difficult to differentiate whether it's a split second heart sound or it's a truncal valve closure. So that may not be a very pointer in favor because वो कई बार differentiate करना मुश्किल हो जाता है. Because if they are quadricuspid valve, so their closure is such that you may not be able to appreciate that closure very well. But the feature is early diastolic murmur, continuous murmurs, syndromic association. These are the features which tell you that probably you are dealing with a truncus as an underlying.
Truncus.
You are not going to get a truncus with the increased pulmonary blood flow in exam. Yes, there is one possibility that you can get a truncus which is still operable down the list. पूछा ये जाएगा कि क्या ये operable हो सकता है? So you can get a apical diastolic murmur in this particular case, which can be Austin Flint
So
murmur. Okay, AR की वजह से there can be this. Otherwise, presence of mid-diastolic murmur in the apex is never seen in Eisenmenger. This signifies increased flow across the mitral valve, which is generally seen in good flow situations.
Good flow.
Cardiomegaly इसमें मिल सकती है
Increased
AR की
flow.
वजह से. That will also not point to operability. कार्डियोमेगली मिलती है तो कहते हैं ऑपरेबल है, बाकी सारे फीचर्स तो VSD जैसे होंगे, इसमें कार्डियोमेगली मिल सकती है. That will also not point to operability. So the main determinant of operability would be extreme cyanosis, which will be there. If the patient is extremely blue, this is less chance it is having. If there is a bilateral continuous murmur, then it is a possibility this patient is operable. Bilateral. That means both the lungs are protected. These are the features which tell even on. अभी भी जब बड़े बच्चे आते हैं, जब around 2-3 years के 3-4 years के बच्चे आ गए truncus arteriosus से, then you have to take a decision whether you can operate him and you give him 2 ventricle repair कि Eisenmengerize हो गया. So clinical examination is important. Cardiomegaly अगर truncal valve regurgitation ज़्यादा नहीं है, well it's a good sign. But truncal valve regurgitation से cardiomegaly मिल जाती है, so that is lost. So we go by echo, LA, LV dilatations. If it is AR is not that significant, we go by how much flow is going to the lungs by clinical and X-ray and by saturations. And of course, cath में हम लोग will discuss 1 or 2 parameters which will come. So discussion is very important for truncus. Operability कैसे decide करोगे?
ठीक है सर.
Okay, we'll come to ECG.
So yes sir, ECG. So on ECG, basically, sir, we'll have the P wave. So if you go by wave, P wave, the tall, there will be a tall peaked right atrial P wave appear in limb leads and in precordial leads and are often accompanied by notch bias. The QRS complex, there will be a right axis clockwise depolarization when the normal and left axis deviation will be seen when there is increase in the pulmonary blood flow, which overloads the ventricles, or you have biventricular hypertrophy. When the pulmonary blood flow is increased, the left precordial leads exhibit deep Q wave, tall R wave, and inverted T waves of the left ventricle. Left ventricular hypertrophy and right precordial leads continue to display the tall R waves of the right ventricular hypertrophy. Large equiphasic QRS complexes in central chest leads indicate combined ventricular hypertrophy. Sir, sir, apart from that, we have echocardiography. We do. सर एक बुक्स में सर MRI भी लिखा हुआ था कि MRI is
पहले इसको कंप्लीट करते हैं. MRI तक तो नहीं जाएंगे ना. We have to take a decision.
सर ये फिर हाँ सर फिर डायग्नोस्टिक वर्कअप है एंड इसमें सर this is taken from सर X-ray I'll discuss. ये में इन्होंने बस यही मेंशन करा हुआ था कि it will depend upon type of the chronotruncus class depending upon the EVARS classification. Type 1 may basically majorly patients will have cardiomegaly, and if the patient has increased pulmonary blood flow, they will be overloaded. Yeah, there will be features of pulmonary edema. But बाकी सारी सर क्लासिफिकेशन जैसे या राइट aortic arch जिसमें हमको मिल सकती है एक्सरे में, एंड सर बाकी इसमें ये क्या था कि ओलेमिक लंग फील्ड होंगे एंड कार्डियोमेगेली की मेंशन करा बुक में भी और परलॉफ में भी और
Actually, X-ray is important whenever you are looking at in a case of truncus arteriosus. जब भी कोई भी truncus arteriosus का केस आता है, उसमें हमेशा operability का decision लेना होता है. So you have to take a decision one कि and truncus के साथ क्या association है? Truncus के साथ association है pulmonary artery hypoplasia का. Truncus के साथ association है significant PH का. दोनों चीजों का जो वो है indication है that diagnosis
Yes,
will
sir.
come from X-ray.
Excellent.
X-ray is very, very important for truncus arteriosus. Presence of right aortic arch is highest association is with truncus arteriosus.
Highest 33% cases, sir. 33 in case 33%. ठीक
तो
है.
सबसे पहले कोई भी एक्सरे देखेंगे तो you have to decide, you have to talk about vascularity. You have to tag whether the lung have got decreased pulmonary vascularity or not. So
Yes, sir.
the criteria is the same. Although classically truncus का जो described है, that will come as a X-ray will come as a high origin of the pulmonary arteries, what you call a waterfall sign. This is generally seen in described in truncus arteriosus. मतलब हाइलम उसका जो होगा वो नॉर्मल से हाई होगा.
ठीक है.
Then you have to see the differential vascularity. Left or right lung में vascularity differential तो नहीं है. That will point to presence of pulmonary artery stenosis.
Stenosis.
And third, you have to see whether if it is no differential vascularity, is it still operable. That means you have to see all those pH which we discussed in pH about the lateral 1/3, about the size of the right pulmonary artery lower branch 16 millimeters, about the presence of. Are you aware what is a thoracic index? That means you measure the ileum at the level of thorax and the internal part of the thorax, and you divide the two, and if the ratio is more than 0.4, it is considered operable. In case of, it is considered pH, sorry, in case of जब भी thoracic ileum बढ़ता जाएगा, it will become pH. इसमें क्या होता है, ileum upper होता है, तो that ileum measurements comes slightly higher, so that is also extended here. So pulmonary X-ray is very important in case of truncus arteriosus to take a decision in borderline cases for operability. क्योंकि cath में there are falsies in truncus. So आपका जो भी decision आएगा operability का, वो clinical and X-ray basis पे आएगा.
ठीक है.
So, have we discussed the natural history? Hello.
I'll not exactly, but I'll tell you. I know natural history. I have not
Okay,
mentioned.
we'll discuss this chart and then let's see how what all comes. Then we'll discuss that.
So the clinical assessment में वही है little or no cyanosis. Then we have to go for pulse oximetry. As sir discussed, the X-ray will show cardiomegaly with increased pulmonary vascular markings, and a dilated truncal root resembles a dilated descending aorta. Mean pulmonary artery segment may rise at a higher level in type A1 and may be absent. On the basis of ECG, we have a normal QRS and we have right axis deviation and with combined ventricular hypertrophy. Echocardiography also plays a key role for diagnosing as it helps to diagnose location of VSD, the regurgitation of the truncal valve, or to help us to find out whether the valve is regurgitation or there is stenosis, or any associated lesions like interrupted aortic arch or right aortic arch or any coronary artery anomaly is been seen in the echo. If we do CTA or MRI, the role of CT and MRI are not very clear, although not very clear, especially in the evaluation. Coming on to cardiac catheterization is indicated in older patients beyond infancy with suspected pulmonary vascular disease or for the assessment of operability. Lastly, levels of Sincerac Sir told just some time back, Sir told that these are associated with increased chances of seizures. So the levels of serum calcium levels and evaluation of the genetic testing is important to rule out the chromosome deletion of chromosome 22q11 whenever it is indicated. And this is the ideal age, the ideal age for surgery that we do. The treatment remains the surgery, and the ideal age is basically you do surgery in those patients in which you have uncontrolled heart failure. The surgical repair has to be done as soon as possible. And patients who have controlled heart failure, the surgical repair can be delayed by 3 to 6 weeks of age, which is again class 1. Bilateral pulmonary artery banding reserved for complex cases or in patients with contraindication to cardiopulmonary bypass. The type of the surgery that we do is total repair using RV to pulmonary artery conduit, and non-conduit options may be possible in selected cases. The prospect of the repeat surgery in future for conduit obstruction may be discussed with parents, and truncal valve repair is done if the valve is regurgitation. If you have a regurgitation valve, the truncal valve repair is done. The conditions in which there is contraindication of surgery, it is done with severe pulmonary artery hypertension, which is class 3, and which is the signs of inoperability include, this is very important, when do you consider that the patient should not be operable? It is when we have pulmonary artery hypertension above the age of 1 year, resting systemic arterial saturation less than 85%, and the absence of cardiomyopathy. Patient with borderline operability due to pulmonary vascular disease should be referred to a higher center for further evaluation. And decision to operate or not to operate an individual is basically based on taking into account the history, examination, and results of all investigations. The long-term prognosis is that these include residual and progressive pulmonary hypertension, need for conduit replacement in future, and progressive truncal or neo-aortic valve regurgitation may develop, leading to may lead to aortic root dilatation and embolism. And recommendations for follow-up is that we need a lifelong follow-up and X-ray, ECG, and echo to clinically assess at 1, 6, and 12 months. And infective endocarditis prophylaxis is recommended in all patients who have undergone surgery. And another is to maintain a good orodental hygiene. Sir, this is all about truncus arteriosus. Talking about the natural history, 50% of the patients the survival is very poor without intervention. If without surgical repair, only 50% patients survive beyond 1 month, 30% survive beyond 3 months. And the cause of death basically remains is congestive heart failure, and because of the large and congestive heart failure and truncal valve regurgitation. Hello.
How many? Hello.
Hello. Hanji.
So how many patients survive till 1 year of age? How many survive till 1 month of age, 3 months, 1 year?
One month till 1 month, only 50% survive without intervention or without any surgery. Around 3 months, around 20 to 20% of the patients survive till 3 months, and only around 5 to 10% patients survive beyond 1 year. Beyond
50, 30, 10 ऐसे याद रखना है 5, 3, 1. 50 1 month, 30 3 month, and 10 1 year. And usually, what time the Eisenmenger sets in?
Maybe by beyond 5 years of age.
No, so usually it happens within first 6 months or maybe by 1 year.
Okay.
At the maximum.
So any child, sure, what Mohit is saying, any child which presents beyond 6 months of age, we have to actually take a decision whether we can operate this child, because they go into Eisenmenger very early, na. So that is, and the problem comes कि how to decide. इनमें decision लेना बहुत मुश्किल होता है, because cardiomegaly होती है. So as you have said, no, we have to go by absolute saturations. It's an admixture lesion. किसी भी admixture lesion में saturation 85% से नीचे होगा, तो it becomes a problematic. Of course वो case to case देखना होता है, because कहीं में admixture अच्छा हो रहा है, नहीं हो रहा है, stenosis है, तो then you have to look फिर उन्हें pulmonary artery stenosis है कि नहीं, कि lungs protected हो सकते हैं क्या. Then you have to look for, well, अगर truncal regurgitation नहीं है तो cardiomegaly और LV enlargement. अगर truncal regurgitation है तो वो criteria out हो जाता है. Then you take. But sir, हम इसमें
हाँ, तो मतलब cath में PVR तो calculate करनी है ना sir?
वही, I am coming there. Then we come to the cath lab. So अब cath lab में what will decide whether this patient is operable or not? Ramila, can you give your input? Cath में what parameters will you decide that this patient is operable or not operable? जब आप कैथ करोगे तो इसका QP हाई आएगा कि लो आएगा किसी भी ट्रंकस का?
So actually we have to take out PVR from that Ohm's law of resistance.
So what will be the normal QP in this particular case? I'm talking of QP.
It's 8, sir. Value is 8.
नहीं 8 से ऊपर तो अनऑपरेबल होगा ना. QP की बात कर रहा हूँ. QP flow. So what happens? QP के लिए आप क्या करते हो? डिनोमिनेटर में pulmonary venous minus pulmonary artery saturation लेते हो. अब pulmonary arteries का aortic saturations है. Invariably जो difference होगा वो बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं होगा. So QP will be falsely high.
Yes.
QP is falsely high, PVR is falsely low. This is the problem with cath. ये चीज़ पता होना जरूरी है. there is a problematic with cath.
Sir,
So how will you decide is, as Romila is saying, you have to take R1 and R2. You take the individual lungs के अंदर अलग-अलग calculate करते हो.
Yes,
And
sir.
you
Okay.
also calculate the pressure gradients in individual as distal as possible in the pulmonary arteries. So वो कल बार एक ही condition होती है जिसमें easily सेव हो सकते हैं अगर pulmonary artery pressures low हैं because of stenosis. क्योंकि saturations तो QP तो falsely high होगा ना, पर अगर pressures low हैं it decides operability. If diastolic pressures are very low, it decides operability. So these are the
so
two.
there is
Sir,
a
so
one
do we
policy that
There is a
if we have two pulmonary arteries and whose pulmonary artery resistance is more than 8, surgery is not offered.
More
Yeah,
than
but-
7.
Yeah, but the problem is 8 और 2 तो किसी भी इसके लिए ट्रू है, बट प्रॉब्लम है कि इनमें ना 8 से ऊपर आना मुश्किल हो जाता है क्योंकि QP falsely हाई हो जाता है. So patient may not be operable, but you will get a QP of PVRI of 6, 5, 6. अब आप कहोगे ऑपरेबल है, पर जबकि वो ऑपरेबल नहीं होगा बिकॉज QP इतना हाई हो जाता है बिकॉज ऑफ फॉल्स QP बीइंग हाई. आपके PVRI फॉल्सली लो हो जाते हैं. अगर 8 से ऊपर है then it becomes definitely very very significant and that signifies very significant disease. But problem इसके लिए एक ही तरीका है that you have to go with diastolic pressures of the pulmonary artery as distal as possible. हेलो.
हाँ सर.
अच्छा, मेरे यहाँ डिस्कनेक्ट ऐसे वो ऐसा स्क्रीन चली गई. He must have so and as distal as possible and go by clinical criteria. हर जगह लिखा होगा clinical saturation.
Clinically लिख रहा है.
X-ray becomes very important. Regarding embryology ना, ये ट्रंकस आर्टेरियस की embryology इसलिए important है because इसका जो कोनोट्रंकल सेप्टल का सबसे अच्छा एग्जांपल इसी में मिलता है. Then you will understand it very well. Normally क्या होता है embryology में, the septation होता है वो it starts from one end to the other end. तो proximally truncal segment है और distally VSD और infundibular septum है. उनको आपस में ज्वाइन करना है. बिकॉज ट्रंकल सेप्टम एब्सेंट है, इसमें एब्सेंट हो जाता है, इसलिए पल्मोनरी आर्टरी और एओर्टा एक साथ आ जाती है. क्योंकि इनफंडिबुलम भी डेवलप नहीं करता है, इसलिए वहाँ VSD डेवलप कर जाता है. So that diagram is very important. और then there is a reason why do you get type 1, why do you get type 2? Because what happens, it depends on the proximal truncal segment में there are certain what they described as vestigial developments of the truncal septum. वहाँ कुछ vestigial tissues अगर हैं present हुए जो pulmonary artery के वो arches बनाएंगे around the fourth arch, so they will continue as the pulmonary artery. If they cannot join, then they form type 4, they form collaterals. But if they join and they are not, as a vestigial element is not there, then they don't form type 1, मतलब common trunk नहीं बनाते हैं. Then they form distal branch pulmonary artery. So 3 segments में इसको याद करना है. ट्रंकल कोनल डेवलपमेंट प्रॉक्सिमल टू डिस्टल जो हर एक बहुत जगह यूज होगा कोनोट्रंकल एनोमलीज में. इनफंडिबुलर डेवलपमेंट जो VSD के लिए इंपॉर्टेंट होगा, और ब्रांच VS का डेवलपमेंट जो वेस्टिजियल टिश्यू और ब्रांचेस के अकॉर्डिंगली होता है. तो दीज 3 सेगमेंट्स में एम्ब्रियोलॉजी को लिखना है जब भी क्वेश्चन आता है ट्रंकस का. हेलो.
यस सर.
और क्या रह गया इसमें? तो
बस सर और तो ठीक ही है.
हम लोगों ने अभी रोमिला सेंड मी वन लिस्ट जिसमें हमारे कुछ अभी कवर नहीं हुए हैं ना फॉरलॉफ के. तो
नहीं ऑलमोस्ट हो ही गए सारे.
हाँ नहीं, वो हमने सोचा था कल डिसाइड किया था एक बार देख लें क्या मिसिंग है. तो जो चीज अभी हमारा
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. I got little disconnected, sir.
ओके, इसके बाद हम ECG और एक्सरे शुरू कर रहे हैं ना. तो हु इज कमिंग विद ECG एंड एक्सरे? इज ही रेडी?
सर कल तो मंडे से है सर, आई गेस
मंडे से
को
कल के बाद जो है. तो ECG और एक्सरे में मनदीप कर रहा था ना एक्सरे ECG शायद.
नहीं, शशांक है सर. मंडे को तो शायद शशांक ECG इन कंजेनाइटल हार्ट डिजीज है.
हाँ एक्सरे सर मेरा है.
तो ECG और एक्सरे इफ यू फील कि ECG इज बाय मी, शशांक ने लिखा है. तो शशांक इज रेडी विद द ECG फॉर डे आफ्टर टुमारो. ठीक है, विल गो बाय द ईसीजी, बट अगर हमें कहीं लगेगा आई कैन, ओके, विल गो बाय द ईसीजी। अगर बीच बीच में हम इसके छोटे छोटे ये निकाल देंगे, संडे लेके लिए छोटे छोटे टॉपिक्स
कैसे?
है ना, जो कॉर्नरी आर्टरी फिस्टुला,
जी
नहीं,
इज वेरी स्मॉल टॉपिक्स।
जी सर।
That topics one of you just take it and finish it on Sundays also, so that पूरा ये हो जाए। coronary artery fistula I thought was important, वो हमारे एग्जाम में आ सकता है। कंटिन्यूस मरमर में अगर coronary artery fistula होगा, जयदेवा में एग्जाम होगा, तो वहाँ पे तो कोई ना कोई बैठा ही होता है coronary fistula। तो
सर कैसे होगा वहाँ एग्जाम?
वो लोग तो बहुत तैयार बैठे हैं, वो तो अभी पीसीएसआई कल की मीटिंग में कह रहे थे हम ऑर्गेनाइज करना चाहते हैं।
हाँ, डॉक्टर डैश को भी फोन आ गया कि जुलाई एंड अगस्त फर्स्ट वीक के अंदर सत्य साई के अंदर एग्जाम रखने के लिए।
खबर आ
पर
गई है,
ये
मेरे को भी खबर आई है, क्योंकि व्हाट आई फील इज बैंगलोर इज समहाउ हैज they have proposed that they would like to conduct
हाँ, तो उन्होंने यही बोला है, बट द
events.
पॉइंट इज कि जुलाई तो बहुत दूर है ना।
हमें जुलाई नहीं, उन्होंने बोला कि अभी ये नहीं बोला, डेट नहीं बोली, उन्होंने बोला they would like to conduct।
नहीं, मैं तो आपको बता रहा हूँ ना, डॉक्टर डैश की केस प्रेजेंटेशन होता है ना, ही टोल्ड अस दैट उनकी नेशनल बोर्ड पे से बात हुई है अबाउट जुलाई लास्ट वीक और अगस्त फर्स्ट वीक, बट द पॉइंट इज कि ये सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग इज हाउ टू एडमिट पेशेंट्स।
हाँ, पर
So what AIMS is doing is AIMS is now not keeping patients; they are giving case scenarios.
तो और भी
तो क्या पता
अच्छा।
DNB भी ऐसे ही करे।
अभी तो उन्होंने प्रपोज